You're watching Network Radio. Live from the Media Broadcasting Center.
And good evening, everybody. And I think I've got the buttons all going here properly. And it seems to be, bars seem to be going and moving, and everything seems to be okay. We'll see if we can fly this background moving a little bit, make things a little bit more interesting. And I got to remember to look this way. Good evening. Welcome to another edition of Walking Your Talk. I'm your host, Mark Russell. Tonight's topic, I'm going to talk a little bit about fueling the fire. I've just been seeing so much being posted around the social medias and people in the discussions about what's going on everywhere. And I mean, this is kind of a trend for us overall, isn't it? They keep on picking a subject from one to another. And I think our two main ones right now that are being used against us is the gun lobby and the total division that this is making and the encroachment. Of course, this is such an easy trigger for everybody. Kind of a pun on words there. Didn't mean it, but works out that way anyway. You have both sides of it, and you have a very easy topic for anything to come up at any time and spark it. So as soon as one story starts to die a little bit, they'll throw out another one. Another state doing something. I think it was Virginia that just turned around and is denying the carry permits from other states, not recognizing them any longer. And this is just artesian well for the elite to continuously push all of these buttons, get the news totally focused on this. When is this kind of stuff gonna end? I mean, they can keep on throwing these things out, and as soon as anything kind of dies down, that fire dies down just a little bit, they get to spark it again. They throw another log on the fire, and away it goes. Whether it's the assault weapons, the Agenda 21. Gun confiscation, that's one that's going to rise every week, every 2 weeks. The next executive order, the next thing. I've noticed this is something that's been going on for the last 18 months, 2 years now, the total gun confiscation. I mean, ever since Katrina. Every couple of months something comes out and it's, well, we're going to come by and we're going to declare martial law and we're going to seize all the guns. Hasn't happened yet. It's kind of really getting old, just like these false flags. They're just getting old. Now, does this mean that people need to put down their guard? I'm not sure, but is it evidence of us being worn down and just becoming complacent? Because it seems to be that's the effect of things instead of the opposite, instead of it spurring more and more and people actually uniting against it. It seems to be people are getting sick of it and bypassing things and so forth. Is it nothing and nobody has really stepped up yet and made a viable alternative that people can congregate around it and show their support and get their teeth into something that's solid and fight back? I think that's just as much the case as anything else. Everybody still feels, from what I see and hear, is they still feel pretty divided. Um, but I mean, the weapons for the states and for Canada, I think it's not as prevalent because it's not part of a constitution or anything else. But we have such a huge um, hunting population and such a huge rural area and everything else as well that we're an awful lot more quieter about it and so forth. But it's I think the people here are much more able to go, well, government can do whatever he wants, but I'm going to have my 10 weapons behind me anyway. And they don't make as much of a stink about it. They just do what they want. Um, I think that's a little bit more the case up here. Um, but as I've mentioned in a couple of other posts and so forth on that subject, uh, I don't see why this is not just a straightforward property rights. I mean, it's nothing any different than a chainsaw or a hammer or any other tool that exists out there, um, which all could be used to kill people. I mean, this is just ridiculous that um, guns are viewed and have been allowed to be viewed the way that they have been. Talk about an ongoing absolute conditioning of society and the human psyche. Um, what more evidence do you need than to just see the topic of guns? Um, that it's supposed to be this sanctioned being that creates crime, that does the killing itself, and that um, by eliminating him is going to solve society's problems. I mean, if this isn't some kind of real ultra mind controlling society bending warping of common sense, I don't know what is. I mean, this is one of the perfect examples um, of that type of social engineering. You don't have to get into a whole bunch of other conspiracy theories and so forth. Just look at the gun topic. Um, it's absolutely ludicrous, uh, and absolutely no evidence base anywhere that this is going to solve anything. Um, but why aren't people waking up and just going, okay, well, wait a minute, let's dig through all this stuff and go, who are you to tell me I can't own one? Or then tell me, oh, well, even if you do own one, you've got to have it in a triple locking safe and so forth. Or now another latest thing coming out and saying, well, you're going to have to carry insurance in case you do something wrong with it. Like this is insanity that people have allowed this type of things to happen. But I digress a little bit just on that topic. It's my point of this being is it's one of those things again that are thrown in there just to fuel things. And then the second biggest one, which I feel is going on, is the whole Muslim act of things. And you've got the whole debating side of it. 1.4 billion Muslims aren't all terrorists, and again, a huge topic that's just rife for the division of society and so forth. And I mean, there's massive questions within inside of these philosophies and so forth. Will we ever be smart enough to overcome them? I don't think so. I don't think there's any system. The older that I'm getting, I don't think there's any system that man can make that is survivable. And I think that's our history, even if you want to believe what is being pushed out there, um, kind of shows that. And to me, it's just further and further evidence that until we reconcile ourselves spiritually, that just a man-made logical system isn't there if it's not based on a spiritual foundation of a loving God, that's just, it's just not going to happen. There's always going to be that greed and rife, and man's ingredient of man is in that, and it's not survivable. And I mean, by any means, if it was, if you listen to the scientists and everything else, well, we've been around for 100,000 years, so why isn't there been a society that has sustained it through that? And there isn't one. So, um, but again, this is a topic where every once in a while it dies down a little bit, or this story didn't quite take off viral enough. They get to throw another log into it, and they get to use another trigger word, and they get to use another divisional aspect of things, and you just see this constant fueling of the fire going on, um, and they keep on just poking it. See what people react to. See what they're doing. And I don't know about an awful lot of you, but I know with inside of all the news groups and everything I follow, the postings of stories and memes of beheadings and children and beatings and all of these things that are going on with the graphic pictures and the horrifying things that are going on is just going rampant now. And I, for one, won't share them. It's Is it to say none of it's happening? Of course not. But what is actually being accomplished by sharing this propaganda that's coming out is too. And if we can't recognize that these things are being used as a propaganda tools to fuel an overall hatred of things and to fuel a absolute fear of things, it's astonishing. I'm just going to share a couple of things with you that I've picked up through the week, and give a couple of examples of. Here my little cursor is here. I'll flip over. Of course, as always, join us on Facebook. MediaBroadcastCenter.com is our new website. I'm still working away on it, and it will keep on getting better, and especially after the holiday breaks here. One of the ones that, of course, came out, and these are some of the ones that it's kind of what I'm talking about. This is 9-year-old girl pregnant after rape. I mean, this is ludicrous, and there's some whatever website and a whole blah blah blah, no time, no date, no anything. You got people voting for it, and one of the most disgusting things I think is going on is here you've got all of these blogging crap, advertising, pornography, money grubbing, things all around it. So out of a page, you see 20% of it of any kind of relevant, what's supposed to be a story. No author, no anything, no evidence of nothing. But how can anybody view this as nothing but an absolute propaganda piece of crap? I don't get it. And this thing I saw the other day was probably shared 200-300 times and was in a dozen different groups. It's ludicrous. And I don't know why people aren't looking at this. And as far as I'm concerned, 90% of what I'm seeing now, as soon as I see this crap down the side of it and this in the middle of it, I'm done with it. It's an irrelevant story. I don't care who's making it. I don't care how many. Look at the comments on this crap. Like this is just unbelievable that this is what our social engineering has come to. You want to see why we're in this kind of a problem? Just look at this thing. It's absolutely ridiculous. Uh, at least here's a site. Of course, these blog pages and everything else are just going up like crazy, um, which I'm very thankful for. I mean, we're here. We're nobody, and 99% of all of these are done by people that are trying their best and so forth, and at least try to discern them because it's still fully infiltrated by the others. And it's just fueling this fire of social engineering, of just hatred and fear, and keeping you distracted from having any kind of actual fundamental backbone in making results to something that is actually going to be a tangible difference, even if it's just in your own family's life, your own family's awakening of the reality of what this world is. Even if that's the smallest thing that you accomplish, it's huge. It's absolutely huge to turn your family around and to wake them up to the reality of the world they're living in. Like here's one at least. You know what? You've got a date to the story. You've got the shares out. Unfortunately, it still has the good old. Maybe I'm just not tech savvy enough, but maybe this is redundant on how these people get blog pages or are able to be on the internet, as they have to um, use whatever this is, Google Ads or whatever. Um, I think it's a shame, but at least it's not as repugnant as the first one. And this is one too that you're absolutely able to take a headline, put it into a search engine, and you'll find 20 or 30 other news articles and so forth on it. So at least it's getting around somewhat credible. And again, you know what? Here we go. Muslims against Christianity. And this is going to keep on going and keep on going. And this whole political correct system has been made by the system to be able to allow this type of thing. So, here's another example. Well, if the Muslims are such a peaceful and coexistent ideological system, I won't call it a religion. Why are they suing school boards? So, I mean, again, this whole division of things is going to be out there. Is it all part of the growing pains of humanity? I doubt it very much. Um, this is a story that I kind of started seeing in September, I believe, October. It's one of the things I wanted to really dive into because I know that this organization is also really fighting back with California. But now you're having actual judges and so forth ruling that pro-lifers have to advertise and promote abortions with their material within inside of their facilities. This is going to cause another huge rift. And again, it's this political correctness. It's all of these propaganda divisions that as soon as something starts dying down a little bit or there's a little bit of a stance on something, they get to throw that log on the fire, spark everything up again. You know what? If people are waking up too much against the law and so forth, we'll just throw another thing in here. And, they're going to be in court for the next 10 years debating this one is this, instead of just throwing this whole administration out and charging the greater amount of the political bodies in this planet with treasons and crimes against humanity. Because I don't even know what more to call it. As far as I'm concerned, this is well past the time that people should have had the pitchforks in their hands and actually trying this 1% of the elite that have been running this planet with the crimes against humanity, the crimes against the earth, and the crimes against God, and stand up. But maybe that's what actual Judgment Day is about. Maybe it's man that will finally never have the chance to do this, and it'll be our Lord that does it. This to me was an absolute joke too today. 6 American soldiers killed in terror attack. Well, guess what? He's going around killing 1,000 people, thousands of people a day around the planet by the U.S. war machine. And what hits the big headlines is the president going golfing because 6 American soldiers are dead. This is the same thing as so many of the other divisions and the propaganda that's intake there. Worried about a golfing story, a president golfing, when you should be worried about him being in jail. And you're worried about 6 American soldiers dying, but what's the collateral damage that this whole operation has done where they're somewhere they don't belong in the first place? Are they off their own soil? Then they don't belong there. End of story. You're an invader. End of story. If you're off your own soil, then you're invading somebody else. So I don't know how much simpler that can really get, and why does it have to be any more complicated? You want a standing army to protect your sovereignty and your abilities to run a society. That's one thing. This isn't what any of this is, and it never has been for over 100 years, 200 years. So, this ludicrous of the big outrage today is Obama is golfing with 6 American soldiers. How many babies went through abortions? How many babies were murdered? How many innocent men were put in prison today? How many children were ripped from their homes by a government that claims them as their property? How many people in the States were murdered by cops today? Come on. And this isn't just fueling this whole activity that's going on around us. I don't see what it's really going to take for us to truly get it and to start seeing past it. Other than, for me, for one, I'm going to, if I do share something like these things, I'm going to be commenting like I just did. And, I did comment on that post in one of the groups saying that, well, if the 6 of them didn't leave their own home, they wouldn't be dead. Well, it's that simple. So, I'm sick of years of seeing the stories of soldiers and this is going on and that's going on. It's a never-ending rotational system, and yet nobody wants to see it, and you keep sending your sons and daughters to do this. It's what does it take? What does it actually take? But those are much bigger questions than I really have all the answers to. But maybe we can start by not fueling this and calling these things for what they really are, calling them out, maybe giving a line for other people to at least start thinking about. Even if they get pissed off, so what? Maybe it'll spark something. Maybe it'll spark a thought. Who knows? And it's not, and I don't mean be out there being mean and poking the fire to stoke that up and just fueling the division between people. But start calling things what they are and seeing this crap and stop sharing it. Stop giving it any energy at all. So that's kind of my little goal on fueling the fire. We of course are on the 22nd of December, and of course I know where Christmas comes from and all of that thing and the pagan and so forth. And then, as I mentioned on my show on Sunday, it doesn't matter to me. I'll use it for what the good Lord can use it for, and that intent. So I wish you all a very Merry Christmas. I hope your family is safe and are together. I hope that you all can find within inside of this holiday season and this Christmas what it can really be and what it can really be about, and make a difference not only in your own family, but in somebody that may need you as well. God bless, and have a wonderful, safe holiday.